With Halloween swiftly approaching, I wanted to give you guys a list of some of my favorite horror movies to watch during Halloween. I'm also interested to know what horror movies you guys enjoy watching during Halloween, so comment that down below. Now, The Conjuring is one of my favorite horror movies to watch. Reason being, it's extremely terrifying, especially the first time I ever watched it. I can vividly remember the first time I saw the clapping scene where the mom is on the stairs and she's playing hide and clap with her kids, and all of a sudden she sees hands pop up behind her and she freaks out. That was a jump scare from hell for me. Followed up when she's blindfolded and she ends up getting jumped on top of by the demon that lives inside of the house while going into her wardrobe closet. Now look, The Conjuring is definitely not one of the scariest movies in the world, but it's definitely a comfort horror movie for me. Not only because I know what's going to happen, it's based on a real life story, a real life family, which I find real life horror a lot scarier than actual movie horror. And if you're not familiar with The Conjuring, it pretty much has to do with a family that moves into a brand new house, not knowing the dark secrets that live on the house and on the land that the house is built on. They then call up Ed and Lorraine Warren after something starts happening in their house, daughters being pulled out of their bed, an extremely rotten smell, and then to the point of where some of them are even getting levitated. On top of the ending. The ending itself is absolute peak. The wife ends up getting possessed by the demon, floats in a chair, tries to kill her kids, chases them all throughout the under parts of the house, and then more or less ends up being saved. Now, in my opinion, The Conjuring is the best horror movie in the whole entire franchise because, as you know, we have a ton of other movies. We have the Annabelle series, we have La Llorona, and then we have some of the other Conjuring movies. Not that they're not great, but in my opinion, The Conjuring and Annabelle are hands down the best movies in the whole entire universe. Now we gotta talk about zombies. Something you guys might not know, zombie movies are hands down my favorite. Zombies is my thing. I love zombie TV shows, movies, video games. I love zombies, probably because I grew up playing Call of Duty Zombies. It's just something I've always enjoyed. 28 Weeks Later is that movie. Now, I hear a lot of people say that 28 Days Later, the precursor to this movie, is a lot better. In my opinion, you are 100% wrong. 28 Weeks Later is a hands down fantastic zombie film for a lot of reasons. One, the zombies sprint. Yes, the zombies sprint. They're not walkers like from The Walking Dead. These zombies actually run. Number two, it's way more realistic than you think. With The Walking Dead, it takes characters a ton of time to turn. Or other zombie movies, it takes them a while to turn. They get a cold sweat, whatever. The people who get bit in these movies, they turn relatively quick. And on top of that, the storyline, the fact that the whole world has crumbled. Everybody is being attacked by zombies, and no one is safe. I also feel like the cast in 28 Weeks Later is great. The story progression is also amazing. And the opening scene is genuinely insane. If you've never seen the movie, it takes place in the UK, where a family and friends are hiding out in more or less a barn house when they hear something outside. They end up letting someone in who has not been bit yet, someone who was just walking around, not really knowing what was going on. They were trying to be good Samaritans and help people out, and all of a sudden, zombies break in, killing the grandparents, this person. The craziest part of this movie is when the husband and wife run upstairs with the kid that they just let in. Now, mind you, they have kids of their own, but they're off at school, so they're more or less safe. They run into a room and the zombies start to break in, and I'm telling you, the husband looks at the wife and dips out the window, leaving her there to get swarmed by all of these zombies. Coming to find out later on in the movie that she actually survived. How did she survive? She's a carrier. She does not turn into a zombie, but can create zombies, which I found to be pretty interesting. All in all, like I said, I think 28 Weeks Later is one of the best zombie movies ever, and I love zombies. You then have to throw in the original Scream. Now, I know, pretty basic, Ghostface, normal killer, whatever. The original Scream is hands down the best Scream in the whole entire franchise, not only because I know everything that's gonna happen, but it's for the simple fact of the plot. Every time I sit down and watch that movie, I get a little popcorn, I sit down, I'm just like, and I just feel good. You know how you could sit down and watch a comfort TV show or comfort horror movie? Scream is my comfort horror movie. Now, I hear a lot of people online talking about Scream and how they don't like it and how it's basic and all this other stuff. I get it. It's kind of basic. A person in a ghost face mask. I also hear a lot of people talk trash about Scream 6. Scream 6 is the second best movie in the whole entire franchise, in my opinion. Now look, Billy Loomis and Stu Macher, that's all I have to say. The fact that we have those two characters in this movie, and there's a possibility that they might be coming back for Scream 7, gets me kind of excited. Because of the ending scene. Matthew Lillard played this role so well where he says, "I'll be back." Just something you never say in horror movies because it's a trope. Horror movie trope is pretty much something that someone says in a movie and then they die. Bro says it, but he knew he was the killer. Well, one of the killers. All in all, Scream is one of my favorite horror movies ever, and I've watched it so many times that I've actually kind of grown an attachment to the movie, and it's probably not healthy. And finally, you have Shaun of the Dead, which Shaun of the Dead is a UK zombie comedy horror movie that I watch every single time I'm on an airplane. And you may be asking yourself, Chris, why? It's because it's hysterical. It's so dumb, it's so funny, but the ending actually gets pretty serious. Now, Shaun of the Dead, as I said, is based in the UK, where three friends more or less live together, but one of the friends they don't really like. When all of a sudden a zombie outbreak happens. Our main character had just recently broke up with his girlfriend. He's trying to save her from the zombies. He's trying to save his mom. He's trying to save his friend. It's just genuinely hysterical. The weapons that they use in this, they're throwing shovels, they're throwing wood. They have no idea how to kill these zombies. They're just winging it. The cool thing is that the ending gets a little bit serious, where the main character's best friend actually does get bit by a zombie and is gonna die. And he ends up keeping him in his garage while he's a zombie after the outbreak is done, just because he couldn't separate from his friend. All in all, Shaun of the Dead is, yes, a comedy zombie horror movie, and it is based in the UK. But I'm telling you right now, if you've never seen that movie and you want to laugh, but you also want to see zombies and a little bit of blood and just a good time, I would watch Shaun of the Dead. Now, I know this wasn't your basic list of horror movies that people watch during Halloween, like watching Halloween and Freddy Krueger and all of this other stuff, but I've watched those movies so many times. Yes, the original Halloween is absolutely fantastic. And the original Nightmare on Elm Street is also fantastic. The original Friday the 13th is fantastic. But I've watched those movies so many times, I like to watch newer stuff sometimes. But I just like to watch some newer stuff, and for some reason, these movies always draw me in. Anytime I'm on an airplane, I see this movie, I'm watching it. If it's The Conjuring, if it's 28 Weeks Later, the fact that they just added 28 Weeks Later to streaming, gets me excited. Now I don't have to use the DVD. But like I said, I know this isn't your standard list of horror movies like Trick or Treat or Halloween or Friday the 13th or Freddy Krueger or anything like that, but this is my list. So I'm very interested to hear what you guys think and what you guys watch during the Halloween season, or if you guys celebrate Halloween all year round like I do. All in all, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the recent support on the channel. It truly does mean the world to me. With all of that being said, guys, my name is Chris, and of course, I will catch you guys in the next one.